The horrifying story of Hercules no one was supposed to know. Hercules, also known as Heracles in Greek mythology, is one of the most well-known characters in all of Greek mythology. His life was not easy. He faced many difficulties and had to fulfill numerous difficult tasks. However, the prize for his suffering was the promise that he would dwell forever among the gods on Mount Olympus. Despite his reputation as a champion of the weak and a great protector, Hercules' personal problems began at birth. Hera dispatched 2 witches to prevent the birth, but they were fooled and sent to another room by a slave. Hera then dispatched serpents to murder him in his cradle, but Hercules strangled both of them. According to one version of the myth, Hercules' mother left her infant in the woods to protect him from Hera's anger, but he was discovered by the goddess Athena, who took him to Hera, stating he was an orphan child left in the woods in need of feeding. Hera breastfed Hercules until the newborn bit her nipple, at which point she pushed him away, spreading her milk throughout the night sky and forming the Milky Way. She then returned the infant to Athena and instructed her to care for the child herself. The goddess mistakenly infused the child with additional strength and power by feeding him from her own breast. Hercules was raised at the court of his alleged father, Amphitryon, where he was taught wrestling, horseback riding, fencing, archery, how to drive chariots, play the lyre, and to sing. Hercules, on the other hand, was unaware of his own power and killed his music teacher Linus one day during a quarrel with a lyre. To keep him out of mischief, he was sent to tend the flocks. This appears to have been impossible for Hercules, but when he learned that the Theban army had been destroyed, he led a band of Theban soldiers to battle the invaders and restore order to Thebes. The 12 labors of Hercules. At this stage in the story, Hercules is a young, prosperous hero who is married and has 3 robust boys. Hera, unable to bear the situation, turned him insane, causing him to murder his children, and in some accounts, his wife as well. He raged on until Athena knocked him out with a stone, and when he awoke, he was overcome with grief for what he had done. He considered suicide, but his cousin, Theseus, persuaded him that it would be cowardly and that he needed to find a means to atone for his faults. Hercules consulted the oracle of Delphi, who advised him to join his cousin, king of Tyrans and Mycenae, who would invent labors to atone for his transgressions. These labors began with 10 and eventually expanded to 12. He was no longer known as Alcaeus after Delphi and assumed the name Heracles. The 12 labors of Hercules were, first, the Lion of NEMEA. He was directed to eliminate a lion, which was immune to all weapons. Hercules strangled the lion with his bare hands after trapping it in a cave. He then skinned it and used the skin as his cloak for the rest of his life. Second, the Lernaean Hydra. Hercules was to kill the monster known as the Hydra, which had 9 venomous heads, and when one was cut off, 2 more would grow in its place. Hercules cut off the heads with the help of his nephews, then seared the necks with a torch to prevent them from growing back. Hercules then dipped his arrows in the Hydra's blood for future use, because it was so venomous and it killed quickly. Third, Hercules was to capture the Golden Hind. The Golden Hind was a deer that was sacred to the goddess Artemis. Hercules spent over a year trying to capture the deer with the golden antlers alive before killing it with an arrow in its hoof. Even yet, Artemis refused to let him take the deer and would have him slain for hunting it until she heard the narrative of his labors before and let him go. Fourth, Hercules was tasked with capturing the Ermanthian boar. This exertion led Hercules to the realm of the centaurs, and the wine he had been given to entice the boar brought the centaurs to him. They assaulted him, and he had to kill several of them before bringing the boar back alive. During this work, he joined the adventure with the legendary Jason and his Argonauts. Fifth, the stables of Augean. He was asked to clean the Augean stables in a single day. Eurystheus thought Hercules' side adventure with the Argonauts was an unneeded luxury, so he planned an impossible task for his next labor. King Augean's stables were massive, as were his herd, and it seemed impossible to clean them in a month, let alone a day. Hercules agreed to undertake this task only if he would get a tenth of the herd in exchange for his success. Thrilling, right? Want to know more? Then keep watching. But before we go on, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, turn on the notification bell to be notified immediately if we post a new video. Ready? Next on the list, number 6, the birds of Stymphalia. Hercules was able to kill these birds using a rattle provided to him by Athena. The rattling scared the birds, who flew away, but not before Hercules could shoot them down in flight with his arrows. 7th on the list, the Greek bull. Hercules was to retrieve the Cretan bull from Knossos. The bull belonged to King Minos of Crete and was holy to Poseidon, the god of the waves. As a result, it could walk on water. 8th, the Diomedan horses. Hercules fed these horses Diomedes, and then returned the horses to Eurystheus when they were full. 9th, the belt of Hippolyte. Hippolyte was the queen of the Amazons, and her belt, or girdle, symbolized her right to govern. The Amazons embraced Hercules at first, but Hera, disguised as one of them, spread rumors that Hercules had come to capture the queen and enslave them all. Hippolyte was murdered in the struggle between the women and Hercules, who then seized her belt and fled. 10th, the GERYON cattle. When Hercules finally arrived in Cadiz, Spain, he encountered numerous difficulties gathering cattle, including having to hunt down a bull. The herd had to be entire in order for the labor to be approved. When Hercules returned the cattle to Greece, Hera sent gadflies to sting the beasts and scatter them, forcing Hercules just to round them up again. 11th, the Hesperides apples. Hercules discovered Prometheus tied to a rock on his way to the sacred grove where the apples grew, and set him free. Prometheus thanked him and told him that the fruits were guarded by a dragon named LADON, who could not be defeated, and that Hercules should try to persuade the Titan Atlas, who carried the earth and sky on his shoulders, to bring them to him. Atlas agreed to help Hercules when he arrived in the grove, but Hercules would have to bear the weight of the earth while Atlas went to retrieve the apples. And last, 12th, Cerberus. Eurystheus chose an impossible task for his final labor, bringing back alive the three-headed dog who guarded the door to Hades. Hercules had to be initiated in the Eleusinian mysteries at the sacred city of Eleusis before he could reach the underworld. He subsequently went to Hades, where he had more adventures in the underworld, such as liberating his cousin Theseus from the chair of forgetfulness which had imprisoned him. He wrestled Cerberus into submission and returned him to Eurystheus, who was so afraid of the beast that he informed Hercules that all the labors were over, and to return the dog to where he'd found it. Hercules was now free to live his life as he wanted, and one might think that after everything he had accomplished, he would be able to enjoy his days in peace. Nevertheless, this would not be the case. Hercules would face more difficulties, whether as a result of Hera's tricks or his own fury and lack of restraint. Hera struck Hercules with madness again, and he killed the prince Iphitus. As a result, he was warned by the oracle that he must sell himself as a slave to atone for his crimes. He became the property of the Queen of Lydia, who forced the hero to dress in women's garb and do needlework alongside the other ladies of the court. Eventually, she accepted him as a lover. The story of Hercules is one very thrilling story that amazes people to this day. Hercules was a strong man with big goals. And this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up and tell us just how much you love the ride. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe now, like, and also turn on the post notification bell. Until next time.